Let's face it, Grand Theft Auto isn't just a game series anymore. It's a pop culture phenomenon that's evolved with us for over 2 decades. From the gritty streets of Liberty City to the sunny chaos of Los Santos, each entry in the series has left its mark. Not just on the gaming industry, but on us as players. Whether it was our first time jacking a car, causing mayhem with cheat codes, or getting way too emotionally attached to a character we probably shouldn't have, GTA has given us moments we won't forget. So today, I'm doing something personal. I'm going through every mainline GTA game from GTA 3 onwards, including the spin-offs like Liberty City Stories and The Ballad of Gay Tony, and picking one thing I absolutely loved about each of them. Not the best mechanic or most praised feature necessarily, but something that stood out to me. Something that made me smile, made me think, or just kept me coming back. This isn't a ranking. It's not a comparison. It's not about which GTA is the best. We all have our favorites, and that's the beauty of the series. Each game brings something unique to the table, whether it's the atmosphere, the story, the mechanics, or even just the sheer insanity of what you can get away with. I'm simply highlighting that one thing that I personally feel defined the experience for me in each title. Maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't, but that's what makes this community great. We all have different memories tied to these games. So sit back, maybe grab a sprunk or hit up Cluckin' Bell, and let's take a ride through the GTA universe, one game at a time. And hey, while you're watching, let me know in the comments what your favorite thing was from each game too. I'd love to see if we match up, or if you bring up something I totally missed. Grand Theft Auto 3 wasn't just another game. It was a turning point, not just for Rockstar, but for gaming as a whole. When this game dropped, everything changed. And for me personally, it was the first time I ever got to visit New York City, virtually at least. Liberty City was gritty, cold, and unapologetically alive. The towering buildings, the rude pedestrians, the sound of traffic echoing through those digital alleyways. It felt real. It felt dangerous. And it felt like I was walking through the heart of something, much bigger than a video game. But what really stuck with me, what made GTA 3 unforgettable, was Claude. Or should I say, the lack of Claude's voice. He was a mute, a silent protagonist in a world full of loud mouths, gangsters, liars, and lunatics. And I loved that. Some people didn't get it, but I absolutely did. Because every time a character ranted at Claude in a cutscene, I found myself talking for him in my head, sometimes out loud. I was answering the mob bosses, mouthing off to crooked cops, staring down Catalina with imagined words that fit my version of him. And that's what made me feel so much more involved. Claude's silence didn't create distance. It invited me in. It let me become the character. His cold stare, that blank expression, it was like a mirror. And in a weird way, I appreciated how unapologetic he was. He wasn't there to beg for sympathy or offer long-winded monologues. He was just doing what needed to be done. No talking, just action. The missions, the music, the city, it all worked together to build this world that felt more alive than anything I had ever played. And with Claude at the center, I felt like I had agency. I was filling in the blanks. I was shaping his personality with my own responses, my own imagination. People always talk about how limited Claude was. But to me, he was one of the most immersive characters Rockstar ever gave us. Because he wasn't just in the story, I was in it with him. And that's why GTA 3 still holds a special place in my heart. Not just for what it did for open-world gaming, but for how it quietly handed me the mic. And let me speak for myself. If GTA 3 was the game that revolutionized open-world design, GTA Vice City was the one that gave it soul and swagger. The moment I booted up the game and heard that synth-heavy intro music, I knew I was in for something special. Vice City wasn't just a setting, it was a mood, a vibe, a neon-soaked fever dream of 1980s Miami, dripping with style, confidence, and danger. The pink skies, the palm trees, the pastel suits and Ferrari-inspired sports cars. It was like stepping into an interactive version of Scarface or Miami Vice. Everything about Vice City screamed the 80s, from the soundtrack, which is hands down one of the best in gaming history, to the over-the-top characters who felt like they'd just walked off a VHS tape. And I loved it. This was the first time I played a game that felt like a love letter to a decade. Rockstar didn't just set the game in the 80s, they committed to it. Every radio station, billboard, and random pedestrian looked and sounded like they belonged in that era. And somehow, that made the chaos even more fun. You could mow down enemies with an Uzi while blasting "Video Killed the Radio Star," or race a stolen motorcycle down Ocean Beach with the sunset burning behind you. It wasn't just gameplay, it was cinematic. And then there was Tommy Vercetti. Unlike Claude from GTA 3, Tommy had a voice. And what a voice it was, brought to life by the legendary Ray Liotta. Tommy was loud, angry, stylish, and smart. He wasn't some silent gun for hire. He had goals. He had personality. And he was determined to rise to the top, no matter what it took. Watching him carve out his empire from nothing was like watching a classic gangster movie unfold, except you were the director. But honestly, what I loved most about Vice City was how it made me feel. Every time I loaded into the game, I felt like I was being transported. Not just to another place, but another time. It wasn't Liberty City's cold realism. It was something more vibrant, more flashy, more alive. The 80s weren't just a backdrop. They were the beating heart of the game. And for a kid who'd never lived through that decade, Vice City gave me a glimpse of what made it so iconic. GTA Vice City wasn't just about missions or shootouts. It was about stepping into a world that was larger than life, where the colors popped, the music slapped, and every street corner felt like it belonged in a music video. And for that reason alone, it remains one of my favorite GTA experiences to this day. Grand Theft Auto. San Andreas will always hold a special place in my heart because it was the very first GTA I ever played. And to this day, it remains my favorite. Not just because it was a masterpiece in game, design, or because it pushed the series to new heights, but because of the memories, the nostalgia, the late nights, the cheat codes, the moments when I wasn't even doing missions, just riding a BMX down Grove Street like I was CJ. That feeling of discovery, of freedom, it was magical. San Andreas wasn't just a game, it was a playground. A massive, living world that stretched across 3 entire cities, with countryside, mountains, deserts, forests, and everything in between. It felt endless. And for the first time in a game, I didn't feel rushed to move the story forward. I could hit the gym and bulk CJ up. I could gamble in Las Venturas. I could rob houses at night, mood lowriders in Loco Loco, or just chill with the homies in Los Santos. There was always something to do. And it made the game feel like my world, not just CJ's. What really blew my mind back then was the level of freedom San Andreas gave me. Until GTA 5, no other entry in the series matched how many side activities, mini-games, and role-playing elements it packed into one game. You could change your haircut, your tattoos, your clothes. You could gain weight or lose it. You could swim. Yes, swim. And for the first time, you didn't instantly die in water. And that alone felt revolutionary. Even though the graphics might feel outdated today, there's a charm to San Andreas that no remaster or mod can replicate. The story of CJ returning home, dealing with betrayal, rebuilding his crew, and eventually rising to power wasn't just about crime. It was about family, loyalty, and identity. And the way it unfolded across that massive map made every moment feel earned. And let's not forget the soundtrack. Another Rockstar classic. Whether it was cruising through the desert with A Horse with No Name playing, or doing drive-bys in Los Santos to the sounds of old-school hip-hop, the music made every scene hit harder. San Andreas gave me freedom I didn't know games could offer. It was immersive, bold, packed with personality, and brimming with life. It wasn't just about what Rockstar gave you, it was about what you chose to do with it. That's why, even all these years later, I still find myself coming back to it. Not just to replay missions, but to relive moments. To feel that sense of wonder again. To step back into a game that, to me, isn't just iconic. It's home. I never owned a PSP growing up. While all my friends were trading UMDs and showing off their modded PSPs at school, I was sitting there with my PS2, wishing I could take Liberty City with me wherever I went. Years later, I finally got my hands on a PS Vita, and I told myself, it's time. When I went off to college, I decided to hunt down a PSP, just to experience that golden age of handheld gaming I missed out on. And that's when I truly discovered Liberty City Stories, Vice City Stories, and Chinatown Wars. It was like unlocking a missing chapter of my childhood. Playing Liberty City Stories for the first time was surreal. Here I was, on campus, chilling between lectures. With Liberty City, the same gritty streets. I first explored in GTA 3, now sitting right in the palm of my hands. And it felt so good. There was something magical about reliving the 3D era on a handheld. It didn't matter that the graphics were scaled down, or that the draw distance wasn't as sharp. What mattered was that feel, the atmosphere, that cold, familiar skyline, the rude pedestrians, the blaring radio, the classic GTA chaos, portable. And playing as Tony Cipriani gave me a whole new perspective on Liberty City. We knew him as a side character in GTA 3, but now we were living his story. The game dove deeper into the mafia politics, family loyalty, and street power struggles that shaped the city before Claude's silent rampage. It was like seeing the origin story of a world I thought I already knew, and that alone made it worth every second. I remember getting lost in side missions, doing pizza deliveries, vigilante jobs, and just driving around to hear the radio banter. Liberty City Stories really leaned into what made GTA's open-world design so great, and it did it on hardware. You could fit in your pocket. That still blows my mind. Rockstar crammed so much content into this game that back then, it felt like a miracle. There was this pure joy I felt, reliving a familiar world from a different lens, but now anywhere I wanted. And even now, I still go back to it. Maybe it's the nostalgia, maybe it's the vibe, or maybe it's because Liberty City just feels like that chaotic, broken home I keep revisiting. Whatever it is, Liberty City Stories was more than a prequel. It was a reminder that GTA didn't just belong on a big screen. It could thrive in your hands. And for me, that discovery, late as it was unforgettable. After falling in love with Vice City, I never thought I'd get to experience that 80s Miami aesthetic again in such a meaningful way until I played Vice City Stories. And playing it years later, on a PSP during my college days, made it even more special. I wasn't just replaying a setting, I was diving back into a vibe. That neon-lit, pastel-soaked, synthwave-drenched energy that only GTA Vice City could deliver. Booting up Vice City Stories felt like coming home. The colors, the music, the beachfront sunsets, it all came rushing back like a wave of nostalgia. The skyline, the palm trees, the chatter on the radio, it was all so familiar, yet so fresh. I didn't even care that it was technically a smaller game. It still had that same magic that made Vice City feel alive. And to be able to carry that world in my hands, walking through campus, headphones in, getting lost in Vice City all over again, was an experience I'll never forget. But what really surprised me about Vice City Stories was how good the story was. Playing as Victor Vance, a name we'd only heard briefly in the original, suddenly gave the city a new perspective. Vic wasn't some cartoonish gangster or over-the-top villain. He was a man trying to do right by his family, constantly being pulled into the chaos of a corrupt city. There was something real about him. Grounded, and watching his descent into the criminal world felt more emotional than I expected. It added weight to the city I thought I already knew. And the missions were just as wild and stylish as you'd expect from a game set in the 80s. Drug deals gone wrong, jet ski chases, helicopter shootouts, empire building. It took everything that made Vice City iconic and added layers of gameplay that pushed the handheld hardware to its limits. Managing properties, expanding your turf. It gave you this feeling of progression, of truly becoming a kingpin in this sun-soaked underworld. But most of all, I loved Vice City Stories because it reminded me of why I fell in love with GTA in the first place. It wasn't just about the chaos or the missions, it was about the world, the setting, the feeling of being somewhere else entirely. And Vice City, with its retro soundtrack, wild fashion, and cinematic swagger, was the perfect escape. Getting to relive that experience in a new light, through Victor's journey, made Vice City Stories more than just a spin-off. It was a full-fledged chapter in the GTA legacy, and one I'm grateful I didn't miss. I'll be honest, when I first played GTA 4, I didn't love it. Coming off the vibrant chaos of San Andreas and the stylish flair of the Stories games, GTA 4 felt different. It was colder, darker, more grounded. Liberty City looked grittier than ever, and gone were the jetpacks, over-the-top cheat codes, and wild roleplay features I had grown to love. I didn't get it at first, but over time, something changed. The more I played, the more I started to feel it. This wasn't a game trying to be flashy. It wasn't trying to overwhelm me with content or gimmicks. It was telling a story, a real story. And before I knew it, I was completely pulled into Niko Belic's world. His struggle, his past, his trauma, his search for the so-called American dream, only to find it buried beneath betrayal, corruption, and violence. And eventually, I realized something. GTA 4 has the best storyline in all of GTA history. No contest. Niko isn't your typical GTA protagonist. He's not in it for the money, the fame, or even the power. Not really. He's haunted. He's broken. And watching him try to build a new life, while constantly being dragged back into the darkness, made for one of the most emotionally complex experiences I've ever had in a video game. The way Rockstar handled themes like revenge, loyalty, and disillusionment was nothing short of masterful. Every character in GTA 4 felt grounded, real. You could hate Roman for being reckless, but you also cared about him. You could question Niko's decisions, but still want him to find peace. Even the side characters, Brucey, Packy, Little Jacob, they all brought something to the story, something raw. And Liberty City, despite its bleakness, felt alive in a way no GTA city had before. It wasn't just a sandbox, it was a reflection of the struggle. A place where dreams came to die and survival came at a cost. And then there were the choices. The moments where the story handed you the responsibility. Kill Playboy X or Dwayne. Save Roman or Kate. These weren't just throwaway decisions. They hit hard. They made you sit back and think about what kind of person Niko had become and what kind of player you were. Looking back now, I can say with confidence that GTA 4 aged like fine wine. It might not have had the loudest personality or the wildest features, but it had heart. It had depth. And most importantly, it had a story that still sticks with me to this day. Growing up, I was a huge fan of motorcycles. Even though I never rode one myself, the freedom and rebellion they symbolized always fascinated me. So when Rockstar released The Lost and Damned, a biker-focused expansion for GTA 4, I was immediately drawn to it. Finally, I could live out that biker fantasy inside the GTA world, not just riding bikes, but being part of a dangerous outlaw gang, the Lost MC. Playing as Johnny Klebitz gave me a fresh perspective. Unlike Niko, Johnny wasn't chasing some grand dream. He was fighting to keep his gang together amidst drugs, violence, and betrayal. The story was raw and personal, focusing on loyalty and brotherhood in a harsh world. The conflict between Johnny and Billy Gray added real emotional weight to the game, making it more than just another action-packed expansion. What I loved most was the feeling of riding with your crew across gritty Liberty City. The bike physics felt smooth and powerful, and cruising on choppers through the rain-soaked streets was incredibly immersive. The missions had a darker tone, with more focus on gang politics and biker culture than I had ever seen in GTA before. Seeing Liberty City again from this new angle made the world feel bigger and more connected. The moments when Johnny's story crossed paths with Niko's made the city feel truly alive and layered. For me, The Lost and Damned wasn't just an add-on, it was a unique, heartfelt experience that perfectly captured the outlaw biker lifestyle I'd always admired. The Ballad of Gay Tony was exactly what Liberty City needed: flash, chaos, and pure adrenaline. After the darker tones of GTA 4 and The Lost and Damned, this expansion threw me into the nightlife of the city with a wild new energy. From the moment I stepped into Luis Lopez's shoes and met Tony Prince, I knew I was in for something different, something explosive, glamorous and over the top in the best way. What hooked me immediately was the upgrade in guns and vehicles. The arsenal in this game was insane, from automatic shotguns to grenade launchers. Every firefight felt louder, faster, and more intense than anything we'd seen in the main game. It wasn't just about survival anymore, it was about style. And the cars matched that vibe perfectly. Sleek sports cars, custom rides, and high-speed chases made driving through the city a thrill of its own. The missions were bigger, flashier, and packed with set pieces that felt like action movies. Then came the parachutes. And man, did they change everything. Skydiving into enemy territory, leaping from helicopters mid-mission, or just gliding over the skyline for fun. Parachuting gave me a brand new way to experience Liberty City. It added verticality, freedom, and pure joy to the gameplay. Rockstar somehow made an already detailed world feel even bigger. The story was the cherry on top. Luis wasn't chasing some dream, he was trying to hold his world together, while working with the unpredictable, drug-fueled, lovable disaster that was Tony Prince. Their dynamic was hilarious and surprisingly heartfelt, balancing chaos with real emotional moments. The club management scenes, the wild characters, and the crossover moments with Nico and Johnny made the city feel alive and interconnected. The Ballad of Gay Tony wasn't just an expansion, it was GTA at its most stylish, chaotic and entertaining. Guns, cars, parachutes, it had it all. Chinatown Wars was one of those games that came out of nowhere and instantly hooked me. It wasn't just another Grand Theft Auto, it was a throwback, a unique spin, and honestly, one of the most addictive handheld experiences I've ever had. At first glance, it looked like a step backward. The top-down view felt retro, almost like a mobile game compared to the sprawling 3D worlds of GTA 3, Vice City, or San Andreas. But once I started playing, I realized that was the point. It was a callback to the roots of GTA, to the chaotic, bird's-eye mayhem of the original games. And it didn't just copy the old formula, it reimagined it. Set in a stylized Liberty City, Chinatown Wars had a bold comic book art style. It gave the game this gritty yet animated personality, like a noir graphic novel in motion. The story followed Huang Li, a spoiled rich kid thrown into the triad underworld after his father's murder. He wasn't your typical GTA lead, sarcastic, clever, and kind of chill, which made his journey through betrayal and gang wars more fun than grim. What really set Chinatown Wars apart was how it used the Nintendo DS hardware. You could hotwire cars, dig through dumpsters, or assemble weapons using the touchscreen. It wasn't just tapping buttons, it felt like you were physically part of the action. That kind of interactivity was rare, even in the GTA series. And then there was the drug-dealing minigame. It was more than a side hustle, it was a full economic system. You'd scout for dealers, study price trends, and flip product for profit. It was so well done that I often ignored the main missions just to run my empire. Seriously, it was addictive in the best way. Missions were tight and fast-paced. One moment you're escaping cops on a jet ski, the next you're hijacking a convoy. And the police system was clever. You could smash into cop cars to lower your wanted level. It turned escapes into aggressive little puzzles. Arcade-like and incredibly satisfying. The soundtrack? Way better than expected for a handheld game. Radio stations had a solid mix of genres and that signature GTA humor. It really felt like a full GTA world, shrunk down but not watered down. What I loved most was how Chinatown Wars respected old-school GTA while doing its own thing. It wasn't trying to be GTA 4 light, it was its own beast. Raw, weird, experimental, and fun. Rockstar felt like it was just enjoying itself again. Chinatown Wars proved that handheld didn't have to mean lesser. It was smart, stylish, and endlessly replayable. Not just portable GTA, portable genius. GTA 5 was a game changer, literally. It was the first GTA since San Andreas that gave players true freedom again. I'm talking about that feeling of being able to do whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. After GTA 4 leaned more into realism and grounded storytelling, GTA 5 just blew the doors wide open. The map was massive, the gameplay was smooth, and the amount of stuff you could do felt endless. I've owned GTA 5 on PS3, PS4, and PS5. That's 3 generations of consoles. And somehow, it never got old. Every time it released again, it felt fresh all over again. Rockstar really nailed something timeless with this one. The world of Los Santos wasn't just big, it was alive. From the mountains and oceans to the city streets and desert dirt roads, it all felt handcrafted and reactive. But what really hit me was the freedom. Just like in San Andreas, you could go skydiving, racing, hunting, customize your cars, do yoga, rob stores, explore underwater wrecks, or just cause absolute chaos for no reason at all. It gave you systems to mess with and let your imagination take the lead. You could lose hours just wandering, finding random events or trying weird stunts, pure sandbox magic. And then you had 3 playable characters. Michael, Franklin, and Trevor each brought something different to the table. Switching between them wasn't just a gimmick, it made the whole world feel more dynamic. You'd jump from Michael, chilling in his mansion, to Franklin, driving through the hood, or drop in on Trevor mid-meltdown in the desert. It added layers to the story and gameplay that felt revolutionary at the time. The heist missions were a whole new level too. Planning, choosing your crew, deciding how to approach, loud or stealthy, it brought strategy into the chaos. Every choice had an impact, and pulling off a perfect job felt insanely satisfying. What made GTA 5 so legendary was how it brought back that sense of complete player agency. It didn't hold your hand, it gave you a world and said, "Go wild." Just like San Andreas did back in the day. That's the magic. Not just missions or cutscenes, but moments you create for yourself. It's more than a game, it's a world I kept coming back to. Over and over, console after console. And honestly, it's earned every bit of that legacy. When GTA Online first launched back in 2013, I honestly didn't expect much from it. It felt like an optional add-on. A cool little multiplayer mode tacked onto GTA 5. Something fun to mess around with after finishing the story. But what it ended up becoming was something far bigger, far more influential, and, for better or worse, a defining piece of online gaming for an entire decade. I remember logging in for the first time, creating my character, and dropping into Los Santos with a pistol, a busted car, and a whole city of chaos waiting to unfold. It felt lawless, raw, unpredictable. I wasn't some special protagonist anymore. I was just another face in the city, trying to make it big. And I loved that. The freedom, the opportunity, the tension of running missions, while looking over your shoulder for that one player who just wanted to blow you up for no reason. Over time, what started as a basic experience, robbing convenience stores and doing Simeon's car repos, evolved into a full-blown empire simulator. Rockstar kept adding more and more. Heists, businesses, vehicles, weapons, properties, nightclubs, arcades, doomsday bunkers, submarines. The list never stopped growing. And while that came with its own issues, I can't deny how fun it was seeing the game constantly evolve. Some of my favorite moments weren't even in missions. They were just random player encounters. Fights breaking out at the airport. Impromptu car shows. Getting double-crossed by someone I teamed up with. Or just cruising the streets at sunset with the radio on. Watching Los Santos come to life around me. GTA Online had this energy that felt like anything could happen at any time. And that unpredictability was part of its charm. And of course, there were the heists. When the first batch dropped, it felt like a massive turning point. Planning multi-stage operations with friends, coordinating roles, escaping cops, it brought back that cinematic, high-stakes feel from GTA 5's story. But now we were in control. It was chaotic, hilarious, sometimes frustrating, but always memorable. It was the closest we came to feeling like we were part of our own GTA narrative. But as time went on, GTA Online started becoming something entirely different. What began as gritty street-level crime slowly turned into a futuristic, over-the-top arms race. Flying cars, jet bikes, orbital cannons. It almost felt like the game was leaving its grounded roots behind. And while that shift frustrated many longtime fans, I still found myself coming back. Because under all the chaos and lasers, GTA Online never lost that core feeling of freedom. I'll admit, things got grindy. The economy became brutal, earning. Money felt like a full-time job unless you were willing to spend. Real-world cash on shark cards, every new update added exciting content, with an expensive price tag attached. But even through the frustration, there was something addictive about the hustle. Buying your first apartment, saving for your dream car, assembling a crew, running your own business. There was always a goal and always something to work toward. One thing I've always appreciated is how GTA Online became a social space. Whether I was with friends or randoms, there was a weird sense of community in the chaos. It wasn't just about killing or winning, it was about the moments in between. Hanging out at the casino, dancing in the nightclub, messing around with weird vehicles, watching fireworks on New Year's Eve. GTA Online let you create memories, some stupid, some hilarious, some surprisingly meaningful. And the content kept coming. The Doomsday Heist, the casino update, the KO Perico heist, Rockstar just didn't let up. They transformed the game into a live service machine, one that constantly threw bigger and louder experiences at us. Even if the lobbies were glitchy and griefers ran wild, it was hard not to admire the sheer scale of what GTA Online had become. Looking back, GTA Online wasn't perfect. It had balance issues, inflation, technical problems, and at times felt more like a cash grab than a game. But it was also one of the most ambitious, unpredictable, and socially driven multiplayer experiences of its era. For many of us, it was more than a game. It was a digital playground we grew up in. A place where we lived out criminal fantasies, bonded with friends, and lost countless hours to both chaos and comedy. Love it or hate it, GTA Online left a massive legacy. And no matter what Rockstar does next, this game will always be remembered as the wild, flawed, unforgettable beast that changed open-world gaming forever. And that's my journey through the Grand Theft Auto series, from the gritty streets of GTA 3 to the chaotic freedom of GTA Online. Every game offered something unique, something memorable. Whether it was the nostalgia of Vice City's neon glow, the emotional depth of GTA 4, or the sheer madness of flying through Los Santos on a jet-powered bike in Online, each title left its mark on me in a different way. What I love most about GTA isn't just the action or the open worlds, it's how each game captured a specific feeling, a moment in time. It's the way I found myself speaking for Claude in GTA 3, reliving the 80s in Vice City, or losing hours running criminal empires in GTA 5 and Online. These weren't just games, they were worlds I grew up with. And while the series has changed over time, sometimes in ways we didn't always love, it's impossible to deny the impact GTA has had, not just on gaming, but on pop culture as a whole. It gave us unforgettable characters, iconic cities, legendary soundtracks, and more memories than I can count. So now I want to hear from you. What's your favorite GTA game? Which moment sticks with you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories too. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content just like this. Until next time, stay safe, stay wanted, and keep cruising those digital streets.